Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast, a program created to answer the question, what's in it for me, for both the business and their customers. Today's guest had this to say.
What does life look like in your home? What do you want it to look like? If somebody's coming to me, or if they're out looking at a model home somewhere, some event is either happened or is about to happen. If you've relocated into a new job market, college kids, empty nesters, first-time parents, something's happened, because all of that information helps me then produce a house that's design specific and meets all of the needs.
Now, stay tuned as we hear more on their values, mission, and why they continue to grow their business. Joining me today on the Growing Your Business podcast is Edward Carel with Legacy Home Care and Origin Custom Homes. All Edward, right. Thank you. Can I call you Ed?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Do people call you Ed?
I do. I get both.
Okay, cool.
I even get an Eddie from time to time.
Okay, yeah. I get Buddy, rarely Bud, right? But Buddy works. So we're here to talk about both of your businesses. Where do you want to start? You want to start with Origin?
Yeah, let's start with Origins. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Yeah. Well, originate with Origin. Yeah. So tell me, what is the range of services? I imagine we're building custom homes with Origin.
Yeah, primarily custom homes, upper level. I wouldn't say luxury is a very ambiguous term.
Overused.
So fine homes, custom designed homes. That is my space. So I love when somebody is going to move in and maybe have a couple of generations living in the same house. Maybe a mother or mother-in-law is moving in the house, family, kiddos, designing a space. We had a lot of people, if you remember the event just a couple of years ago when we had a COVID event, right? The event.
I like how we're calling it. Yeah.
And we had a lot of people migrating from other areas coming to Texas and or seeking jobs in Texas, or companies relocating in Texas. So a lot of times they brought family members with them. So yeah, I do a lot of custom design homes that are multi-generational, and I ask a lot of crazy questions and get very specific in how the house is laid out, asking questions they would never, ever think about.
So let's start with those questions.
Sure.
Given I imagine you've been in business for years, built a lot of homes.
Yes.
What's the first question you ask?
I ask them how they do life. Like, what does life look like in your home? What do you want it to look like? If somebody's coming to me, or if they're out looking at a model home somewhere, some event is either happened or is about to happen. It means a baby's coming, somebody's leaving the home, you've got a parent coming to live, you've relocated into a new job market, college kids, empty nesters, first-time parents, something's happened. Yeah. And so the first question is what does life look like? What has to happen with inside of the house to make it accommodate? Do you homeschool? Do you work from home? Is it a country home? Is it an infill, town home? What is it?
Yeah.
And so those are the questions I ask.
And from there, everything else falls into place, really. I mean, putting it simply, but yes.
Yeah. Then I go on to ask, like, how do you do life? Where do you like to vacation? What are your hobbies? Are you an early riser? Do you go to bed late? Pets, right. All of those questions, because all of that information helps me then produce a house that's design specific and meets all of the needs.
Excellent. And you're from ground up, right? The entire project, as in picking the land.
That is correct.
The location.
Yes.
And DFW and beyond?
So I do referral work outside of Grayson and Collin County, but Collin County and Grayson County are my two primary locations. Okay. Which is a pretty big, it's a pretty big sandbox. It really goes kind of Farmersville to West Frisco, Allen, Plano, all the way up to, Denison.
Good site. A lot of building going on there.
There's a lot of construction in the area. Yeah.
That's terrific. How long have you been with the Origin Custom Homes?
So I had a previous company for 21 years. I closed right after COVID.
Yeah.
It did both renovation and new construction together, combined. I had that company for 21 years. It was going to be my legacy business, right? And then COVID came along and we thought we made it. And then when all the softwood lumber contracts went up like 400%, I had project after project after project start canceling. And it was just devastating. So
that's unfortunate.
Had a really hard close. But, in reflecting on it, felt really hard. It felt devastating at the time. And it was hard. I would never want to go through it again. However, the backside of that is my learning and my growth. I was working on a development at the time, so I split off and consulted for the remainder of a project to finish the design work. Got hired by a production semi-custom home builder that was regional. So I was a division president for them for a couple of years. It was a great experience. Actually, it wasn't even a full 2 years, and then stepped back into doing my custom work, doing what I do.
Great.
So, but anyway, that was the history. So I'm in industry. I'm 28 years.
Yeah. Wow. So plenty. You've seen a lot of different building over. You've seen this area grow.
Oh yeah,
from so small to well, I mean, Salina.
Mm-hmm.
You do work in there. It's like that's the place that's really hopping right now.
I was in Salina yesterday doing a land
There you
survey.
go.
I was just literally looking at the land, evaluating what the best and highest use of the land is, and how to maximize the land potential.
So once the house is built, we've talked about Origins Custom Homes. Let's transition to Legacy Home Care.
Yeah.
So the house is built, they're fine. What services do you offer with Legacy?
So Legacy is everything from front to back, inside and outside in terms of renovation. It's it's splitting what I previously did into two companies, so I have more flexibility to pivot with one or the other companies. You'll notice Legacy is in the name of the renovation company. So I've got 6 kids. I've got a couple that are up and coming that have interest. So my hope and desire would be is that I get to pass that on to them. My passion really is land development and new construction. Love renovation, but my intent is in the long term to pass that on to part of my family and let them run with it. And as I'm still involved and connected, but make a transition at some point in the future.
Residential is a challenging business. What would you say is your favorite part? What's the part that gets you out of bed in the morning? Obviously, beyond making a living, we all want to make a living. Yeah.
Well, a couple things. On the land development side, going to a raw piece of land and helping someone figure out where the magic spot on that piece of land is, or what is the highest and best use of the property. I did that literally yesterday. This was I was talking to the 4th generation down. It had been passed down to from great grandpa. And so that area in Salina is changing a lot. So now what do we do with this land to continue to provide and take care of our family into the long term? And so that was really what my site evaluation was about. It's like, how do we use this property to continue providing for the family for generations, more.
Wow.
And so I love that. That is very exciting.
Yeah, that's problem solving and building a future for their kids, grandkids,
you're right.
and so on.
It's not just impacting my family and my kids, but it's my customers and clients, like providing for them.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this. Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard. Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles. So the building industry has changed over the years. You've been at it for almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
What would you say is the number one factor that has changed the industry so much, or a few? I'm sure there are things that have either made it difficult or better.
So the evolution of just as though the evolution of technology has advanced incredibly over the past couple decades, the construction science technologies that are available are incredible. I mean, products and things that I can do with different types of products and construction, engineering, the things that I can do today that I couldn't have even possibly done 20 or 30 years ago is pretty incredible.
Name a couple of those.
Energy efficiency for one. I could build a net zero home in terms of the heating and cooling, so passive home. That's not necessarily wise or smart in North Texas because of our climate. It makes a lot of sense if you're far up north. But even to be able to get your HERS rating or energy use, I built a group of houses a few years back that I was able to give them $125 a month energy guarantee. So I basically enrolled them in a program. So if your utilities ever exceed, this level, and these were 3,000 square foot houses, like
that's incredible.
This will cover any difference just because of the level of efficiencies that we build into the home.
That's incredible.
That's a huge regulation, of course, with anything, the regulative environment. Texas, we're in pretty good shape overall. It is concerning, and I've mentioned this many times before. I love Texas. I'm not a big fan of high regulation environments, but in Texas, you don't need licensure to be a general contractor. Yeah. So if you're going to open a food stand in downtown McKinney for a festival, you require more permitting than you do to go build a house in the country, in the county. So hiring a good contractor, having a good engineering support, architecture support in that process is paramount. If you get somebody that's not done it before, doesn't know what they're doing, when they're not regulated by a municipality, they're going to have a lot of shortcuts. You can have problems.
Well, then help me vet that person. Like, what are the questions to ask to find someone as qualified as yourself?
Right. Well, I mean, industry experience, there's no substitute for experience. Somebody that's been doing it. I mean, even, I remember back to some of my, early mistakes when I was pretty green. I wouldn't make those mistakes today. Especially in renovation, people talk about the unknowns of renovation and remodeling a house. I mean, there are unknowns if you've not done it before. And there are, in fact, things that you can't see behind walls and know all the time, but you can anticipate with pretty good consistency what to expect in most circumstances if you've been doing it for a while. So I think that's one of the things, some gray hair, at least some experience is not a bad thing. But then also a collaboration. You want to look for somebody who is willing and open to collaborating in the process. Do they have a team? Do they have a staff team? Do they engage other professionals? Like, they're going to bring an engineering professional in, architectural professional in. What type of contractors or subs are they going to use? Those are all, prudent questions to ask.
Let's say I want to remodel a part of my house or something that Legacy you can do for me.
Yes.
Let's a good example maybe is a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my kitchen. What are the gotchas I should look for before I pick up the phone and call you?
I mean, you want to look for any structural related issues. So is the structure going to have to be moved or adjusted in any way? If it is, you need to accommodate for that. Are there any existing structural issues or water issues that need to be dealt with prior to, is there mitigation, for example? So if somebody's coming in and it's because they've had a flood or some type of water damage, has been properly mitigated before reconstruction starts, that's important. Is there going to be utilities going to be moved? Or are you going to take the sink and move it to the other side of the room? Because in those situations, I have a sonar company will come in and map the slab. So I know where the post-tension cables are, so we don't,
don't snap one of those.
Don't snap a post-tension cable and cause a, big structural problem. So some due diligence up front. What type of cabinets or products are you wanting to use so you know that you're going to be within budget? You don't want to decide what your budget's going to be after you've started tearing stuff out. So have a firm budget in place, have a written scope of work. So I think that is a mistake that a lot of rookies make, is they don't make a clear scope of work. So we can both agree that we want a really good kitchen, but now articulate what is a really good kitchen. So I need to know how many linear feet of cabinets, what type of cabinets, what materials are we using, how are they going to be constructed on site? Are they shop? Are they pre-finished? Just asking the right questions and have a clearly defined scope of work.
Right. And that's where working with someone of your level of experience will solve most of those problems, as in
right.
You'll offer the questions to ask.
Absolutely.
You should be asking this customer, not ignoring that.
And we're at such a golden, one of the questions you asked earlier is like what technologies or what things are different now. I have my list of questions, but I can constantly improve that by integrating with ChatGPT. Like, what are good questions to ask? So I've been doing this for a long time. I think I've seen most things that you can see. So sometimes I'll even run my questions through, or these are my questions. What questions in addition to this should I be asking? I mean, I'm been doing this a long time. I'm still, in a mindset to grow and learn.
Yep. That's great. Always being a student is a sign of someone who really knows what they're doing. Yep. Is knowing that you don't know everything.
I don't know everything. I mean, I learned a lot over the years, but there's always more to learn.
That's excellent. What is the best way to contact you?
If somebody reaches out to me through my website, they're going to be funneled to me or to somebody that's going to reach out to them and set up an appointment. So if they're looking for a renovation project, they can either go to like my Google My Business page, Legacy Home Care. If they Google that, they're going to land on my Google My Business, which is going to link them to my website, which is going to give them a funnel. It's going to hit my Calendly, and they're going to get an appointment set up, usually at this point with me face to face.
Terrific.
Same thing with Origins Custom Homes. If they're going to hit the Origins site, Origins Custom Homes, it's going to funnel them, get them connected with me. I usually reach out very quickly. We set an appointment. I use Calendly so we can make sure appointments are set and there's no conflicts. And then I'm going to show up and we're going to start asking questions and looking at projects.
That's terrific. Parting thoughts for someone who's looking for either of your businesses. What do you say there?
Somebody that's looking, I would just encourage, like I'm not obviously the only really good contractor in the Metroplex. There's several. There's also some really bad ones. So checking, do your due diligence. Look for somebody that's, well rated, that you can easily look and see, yes, they've done consistently good work. Their customers are happy with them. Look on the Better Business Bureau, website. We maintain A+, rating on the Better Business Bureau. Ask questions when you meet. Make sure you have a good scope of work. Whether it's a new construction or a renovation project, what are you getting for your dollars? If you're going to invest $60,000, $100,000, $200,000 in a renovation, or know exactly where that money's going.
Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.